first presentation, which is by the Yukon River Intertribal Watershed Council. And we have a couple of folks who are coming up with us, or coming up to give the presentation. First off, we have the former Grand Chief of the Gwich'in people, Chief Clarence Alexander. We've got Chief Peter Captain from the Loudon Tribe, Chief James Landlord from Mountain Village, and Pat Sweetser, the Tribal Administrator from the Loudon Tribe. So if those gentlemen will come up on the stage and we'll begin the presentation.
Good morning, everybody. First of all, to relax everyone, I think we all should give each other a big round of applause for all the accomplishments that we've done. Each and every one of you are heroes. As I said, my name is Peter Captain Sr. I'm the first Chief of Loudon Tribal Council, one of the members of the Yukon River Intertribal Watershed. We have a huge watershed, as you can see, and you know it takes a lot of work to run this watershed. Our area is basically twice as big as California. I don't mean to put California down, but that's just the way it is. Its entirety is 2,300 miles long from the headwaters to the mouth, where it empties into the Bering Sea. We have the largest inland run of salmon in the world on a river. And one of the statistics is that 11% of all the nation's tribes rely on the Yukon River for survival. We have at this time 62 indigenous governments that have signed an accord to work with each other to help run this Yukon River Intertribal Watershed. And our philosophy is based on tribal sovereignty, mutual recognition, and our common goal is clean water for future generations. I will now turn it over to James Landlord, Chief James Landlord, for further explanation.
Thank you, Peter. So Peter said, my name is Chief James Landlord. I'm from Mountain Village, Alaska. It's way toward by the Bering Sea at the mouth of the Yukon River. At the time after 1997, our first summit, we call all the committees board members, and they elected a steering committee to set forth the foundation of our organization. And at the time we were developing them, one of the steering committee mentioned that how do we want our, how should our organization look like or behave? And after a while, one of them said, how about an elder? So some guiding principles were mentioned, and we went through a brainstorming, and some of these, we try to describe the elder, and some of these are listening. We will hear and allow for diversity, be respectful, be flexible, have integrity, be honest, timely decisions and responses, not judgmental, sharing wisdom, consensual, unifying. We use circles at our summit. Everybody gets to speak out, be inclusive, fair and equal, tenacious, be trustworthy, patient, and be bold. And we, at the in the past, because of our some differences in our up the river, when I was growing up, our relatives used to say that they call them muyukuliks. Be careful of. They were describing the people upriver, the Athabascan Indians. They said that they can bone arrow you, and that's how we grew up. So we had some little differences in our culture, but during the summit, everybody gets to speak. Thank you.
My name is Pat Sweetser. I'm the tribal administrator for the Ruby tribe, not the Loudon tribe. Although I did work for the Loudon tribe at one time, but my job is assisting the chiefs to empower their people and tribes, and that's what I work hard at. We began to address the watershed and the cleanup of the watershed by talking to individuals and community leadership. And one of our distinguished leaders, Sidney Huntington, told the military general of the state of Alaska, of all the military in Alaska, that the war wasn't over until they cleaned up our backyard because the military is major contaminants of that Yukon River. With the military, we went to them and said to leave your lawyers at home. No offense to lawyers, mind you, but leave your lawyers at home, because in the end the courts would say, military, clean up your mess. And we convinced them that it would be better to spend the money on doing that cleanup, and they did. With the help of EPA and other foundations, we were able to bring all the tribes together and let them tell their ecological knowledges of what was happening to the river and what was happening to their food sources. And that's how we got started to develop an accord to bring the tribes together to address the cleanliness of the river. We decided to do things in a non-threatening manner, and as chief landlord, but we adopted some principles in which to communicate openly and honestly. And that set the groundwork for how we do business with others, with institutions, with mining companies, with the military, and all. One thing that the watershed has been able to do is to help and empower tribes and with successful programs to assist to develop good stewardship for the watershed. We do water quality monitoring, bringing environmental education to our schools, to our communities. It's kind of pretty cool, because it's hard to get adults to change their ways, but through the children it was pretty easy, because we brought it to the schools and the kids say, "Grandpa, don't throw that Coke can in the water," and so that worked out really well. We do other things like developing pilot energy projects, performing analysis, doing solid waste and sewage system improvement programs, mapping, and others. I'll turn it over to Chief Clarence Alexander.
Name's Clarence Alexander. Years ago, as we were, I grew up right along the Yukon River, and I still live there. I used to drink the water, but I don't do that anymore. One of the things that was happening in our country was that all along the Yukon River, we have quite a few villages, and they have health problems. And we also noticed that the animals, the birds, the fish were also sick. if you're living in a country like ours right now, we're kind of lucky ones because we still maintain our traditional way of life. And when you see people turning sick, all the animals and everything else, then you know that something is wrong. So we went out and, well, some of our friends we didn't know each other to start off with. First of all, we don't know each other at all. I'm a Gwich'in. I don't know the headwaters. I didn't know the middle river and the lower end of the Yukon. We have been territorial enemies for a long time, and now we're friends that are fighting together instead of fighting each other. So what we set out to do is to see if we can be able to do exactly the way that our grandparents used to work. And that's starting out by sitting at the campfire for days at a time. We did not have any phones. We did not have any kind of means of communicating with the outside world when we're strategizing as to how we can implement our clean water, to create a clean water. And the vision was about 50 years that we should be able to drink that water. And that's the health. We're talking about the health in any shape, form, or that you can understand. There's different ways of looking at a health, and ours is that we have to maintain our ecosystem where all the is toxic. We have so much toxic material coming into our country. I'm told to stop. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. And now we'll have a quick question and answer session with our Board of Governors.
The Yukon River Intertribal Watershed Council is treaty-based. Can you explain how treaties give leverage and establish your presence and authority in discussions with federal agencies, townships, and corporations?
Of the treaty, a treaty accord that was signed by all the tribes by consensus, and that gives us the authority to act with the tribes, to interface with institutions and federal and state type of agencies.
I have another question, if I may. Have you had a situation where there's been a violation by some entity or authority in breaching certain accords or agreements with regard to the river? And if so, what have you done to enforce the agreements? And have you had any problems in doing so?
We interface with the people that are violating with open communication. We haven't had to do any kind of court kind of things yet, but then we're young and we know that those problems are ahead of us, that there are many polluters that we haven't even addressed yet along some of the tributaries that feed into the main watershed, particularly the Tanana River.
Any further questions? Okay, thank you so much. I need to ask